to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
I'm getting nauseous.
The news around the country. That's what we are doing this afternoon. We usually do this about noontime, and we're going to have sluggish performance because of all of the advertisements that these yahoos put on the news. So I apologize. It's going to be a little jerky, but we're going to get right into it because I think this is pretty interesting. One of the reasons why I set this up is because there are so many things going on in the news that we cannot cover when we're covering a main topic like Sebastian Rogers or Dane Polson or Crystal Rogers or Brian Kohberger. However, we're going to be starting out with Brian Kohberger on this episode on Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories, because I thought this was interesting, and this is really the only place I can plug it today. And by tomorrow, it most likely will be stale because I noticed that Brian Kohberger is making the news almost daily now. And so by the time we get to tomorrow, there's going to be more news that's going to be coming out. So I have no place to plug this information except here on Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are going to take a review of the information we collected covering the case of the Idaho 4, which is now Brian Kohberger. And the reason why we changed it from the Idaho 4 to Brian Kohberger is because now we know who may be responsible for the kids that were murdered at the university on the outskirts of the University of Idaho, and they were Idaho students. Kaylee Gonzalez had recently graduated and was just visiting. That's all she was doing, was just visiting to show off her new ride and to start heading off to her job in Texas. So it's nice to see you all in here this morning. We're going to have probably a lower crowd. We again come about noon, 12:30ish, 1 o'clock for this episode. And unfortunately, my day has been a manic Monday. I don't know why, but it's like everything kind of went crazy. Now we have everything calmed down at Casa Bullhorn. So we're ready to get our day started. Melanie, it's nice to see you. Our beautiful Dawn is up in the house. MC, it's nice to see you. Cinderella, our beautiful The Real Me Too. Donna, good afternoon. Deanna, hey. Phil, it's nice to see you. Nanette, Mary, it's nice to see you as well. Groovy Gal, Mr. and Mrs. Car Guy are up in the house, and I hope you guys are doing well. BJ Boop, it's so nice to see you, Love Bug. I hope you're doing well. Denise, hey. We got, who else do we have? I think we said hi to Nanette. Lady 7 Up, good afternoon. D, good afternoon. Look who we have, West Virginia Holla Girl. It's nice to see you, Love Bug. I hope you're doing well. Along with everybody else, Nani, D's Mystery Obsessed. It's nice to see you. Michelle, hey. Good to see you. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up button on your way in. Hey, Peggy, it's nice to see you. So we're going to start out with our first story here. I'm just going to read this stuff verbatim, and then we'll have a slight discussion on them. I do that because it's a lot, and it's a lot for me to remember when we have this many cases to kind of go over to give you a full idea of what's going on. This is related to Brian Kohberger, and they're trying to work on words that they do not want them to say in trial. This is very interesting. And one of the first words, as you saw in the title, is bushy eyebrows. Why are they worried about bushy eyebrows? Well, if you guys remember, we have a probable cause affidavit. And one of the statements made was made by Dylan Mortensen to law enforcement. Hey, Show Poodle, thanks for the love. It's nice to see you, Love Bug. God bless you. And Prayer Warriors up in the house. Mary, it's nice to see you. Melanie, hey, 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 hey. I guess Pussy Willow Pendercat is up in the house. It's nice to see you, Love Bug. I hope you're doing well today. So in the probable cause affidavit, we have this. Can I stop that? Okay. We have bushy eyebrows listed. So I find it very interesting. And this is what caught my eye and why I decided to go ahead and bring this forward. So accused killer Brian Kohberger had, of course, gotta love it. Don't forget your advertisements there. Oh, and we're going to dive into Wendy Williams. I don't know if you guys know the talk show host Wendy Williams. I don't know how you feel about her, but I am officially on the Free Wendy campaign. And so much so that I want to go wherever they're holding her hostage, and I'm going to call it just that. And I'm ready to start sign waving. Free Wendy. We're about to get on a freaking Free Wendy. I heard some stuff today. Oh, good gracious. Why am I saying that? It's because it popped out and it's right here. You guys can't see it. Let me put this up. It's right here. Up here at the top. And I was reading some stuff about it. Oh my gosh. We're going to be on Free Wendy. And trust me, I don't really care. I'll stand out there with my sign. I'll stand out there with my bullhorn. I'll do whatever I'm allowed to do lawfully and legally in whatever area she is. But we are going to make a large presence if things don't happen. Somebody like Wendy Williams being forced into a hospital, an ALF type of hospital, and she's not even able to leave. Cut it out. Sorry, not sorry. Cut it out. We are going to be on the Free Wendy campaign here very, very shortly. Wendy Williams, I know she's had her ups and downs. Some people love her, some people don't. This doesn't have anything. I could care, I could care less who Wendy Williams is, whether she was a talk show host or not. When I heard her story and I heard what's happening, and I hear some of the statements and looked at some of the interviews that she's had. Now, granted, I know dementia, you're clear in the morning and maybe not so clear in the afternoon, but dementia doesn't mean you are a prisoner. Somebody needs to be held accountable for this. I don't care who it is, but we gonna free Wendy. We gonna free Wendy. All right. Sorry, I had to go in that tangent I just saw here because she was taken by ambulance, and there's a reason, and I don't think it's necessarily a medical one. I think she just needed to leave, and that's pretty sad. You got to get an ambulance ride just to get the hell out of the place you're staying. We on a Free Wendy campaign. I don't know when we're going to strum it up, but we're going to strum it up. Okay, sorry. So we got accused killer has asked the court to refrain from using certain words during his University of Idaho quadruple murder trial, including murderer and references to bushy eyebrows, according to newly released unsealed filings. Kohberger's legal team made the request as the defense team continues its attempt to have heaps of evidence tossed ahead of the August trial date. We are going to be there for the trial date. I don't know how long we're going to be there. I don't know if we're going to be able to afford a week, 2 weeks, stay there for the whole trial. I really don't know. But this is a case that we covered, much like Sebastian Rogers, very in-depth. We actually searched for evidence in that case. We haven't had an opportunity to really search for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Many know that Chronicles of Olivia and I are infamous for the water bottle in the Gabby Petito. Not critical piece of evidence, but it was evidence that needed to be with law enforcement, not in the the company of some YouTubers. So we, after having to wrestle with law enforcement and let them know that we did actually find something that they left behind. It's funny how quickly, you never know who can get a hold of your phone. Let the FBI want to find you. It doesn't matter if you're on an anonymous phone number or not. They know your phone number, okay? We were getting calls from AJ. What is it? Edgar? J. Edgar Hoover? What is he doing on your phone? Like the Clue? You guys watch the Clue movie? What's he doing on your phone? Right? So we got a call from the FBI that told us we needed to turn that over, which we were trying to. It's just that, Northport Police, they're a small police department, and they didn't know what to do. So instead of taking responsibility and saying, yes, we left some evidence out there in the field, they decided to call us liars. That was not a good day for them. Next thing you know, the FBI wants the water bottle. We have the water bottle. Long story short, we do find things because we are boots on the ground. You're never going to find a stick unless you're looking for it. Okay. People that are sitting here doing these cases from like me, from home, are never going to ever find any evidence in these cases. Why? Because they're not out there looking. That's why. We do. We go out and search. We search a lot. I'd love the opportunity to search for Sebastian, but we don't have that opportunity for a little while. So we're going to do the best we can with the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case. I truly believe his stepfather, when his stepfather says that we will never find him. I don't know what he meant by that, but he definitely said it multiple times. So what do you do? What do you do? So this defense wants a lot of stuff thrown out. They want to not use words like murderer, murdered, and murder weapon, which is a little bizarre to me. I don't know what the judge is going to say about this. Let me put this back up. So if you guys have a big enough screen, maybe you guys can read it with me. So there's the beautiful, loving 4 people in the red circles. This is Maddie Mogan. If you don't know who these people are, I'll point them out. This is Maddie Mogan, the one on the top here. Under her is her best friend, Kaylee Gonzalez. Next to them, right here, this is Ethan Chapin, and this is Xana Kernodle. Now, this is Dylan Mortensen. She is a surviving roommate. And this is Bethany Funk right over here, another surviving roommate. So here is who was all in the house that evening. And I'm almost confident that this was taken before they went out that evening. So I can't be 100%. It's been a long time since we covered this case, but I think if I remember correctly, this was the day, they were unalived in the early morning hours around 4 o'clock to 4:20 in the morning. So this would have been on November 12th, earlier in the day. If I'm correct. I could be wrong about that. They want to make sure that sociopath and psychopaths are also words that cannot be spoke or uttered. This is the request. It hasn't been voted on yet or ruled on by the judge yet, but they are requesting these specific words not to be used. I personally think that's going to be difficult, maybe not in reference to the client, but we're going to have a lot of experts up on the witness stand, and those experts may use these words, maybe not in association with Brian Kohberger, but we don't know. We don't know what the experts are going to say, especially when it gets to the psychological experts. So they're saying psychopath, sociopath are words that they ask not to be applied to Kohberger during the trial, arguing they unfairly are prejudicial and amounts to name calling, according to the defense. To label Mr. Kohberger a murderer, the alleged weapon consistent with an empty sheath as a murder weapon, or to assert that any of the 4 descendants were murdered by Mr. Kohberger, denies his right to a fair trial and the right to be presumed innocent, according to Ann Taylor, said in this unsealed filing this week. So this is heating up. This is definitely something that I want to look at. Now, you also have to remember that there's points, and we learn this in the Alec Murdaugh case that defense can step into some poo-poo, okay? And it's what the legal profession refers to as Pandora's box. And what that basically means is there's a lot of things that can't be brought into trials, okay? For example, when Alec Murdaugh was on trial for murder, it was ruled ahead of time that they could not bring the financial aspect of his crimes into the murder case. Well, one problem is the defense asked a question and it opened Pandora's box. And that means because of that one question, they were now able to bring in the entire financial crimes. They opened that up themselves. So even though there's rulings that say, hey, you can't use this, we definitely know the defense has the ability to step into some poo-poo called Pandora's box. And so even though she's requesting these, there may be a time if Dane was found. Holy crap, guys, we may have breaking news here. Breaking news. This is not going to be good. I already feel it. Are you asking the question, Craig's girl? I don't think you're asking the question. Oh, shit. Okay. Excuse my language, guys. This is not good. I already... Oh, I almost want to cry. Where is that, on X? I sent you a text. Okay, thank you. Okay, guys, here it is. We're breaking news. Guys, we have breaking news. Breaking news right now here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. It is with a sad heart. I almost want to cry right now. God bless that family. Dane Polson has been found deceased in the river, guys. It took just 2 hours for Juan Heredia to locate Dane. He's a diver. He went in and he found the baby. Now, I'm about to change the direction of our conversation. We still have breaking news to go over, and I will be cutting this and playing this. This is a message to all the content creators out there. I know people want to say and speculate that we do not do our research on this channel, and that somehow every single person that misses a child is culpable for that child being missing. Mistakes happen. Accidents happen. We are the true crime genre. Crime. Okay? Crime. It is so upsetting to me because this was not a case. Once I determined that child had drowned and was most likely in the water, that's kind of the end of my job with that case. If that case, and the only reason why I was advocating for that case is because of the crap that I was reading on social media toward these parents. I thought it was appalling. I know people's like, well, you do it all the time. It's drowned and saturated in freaking fact. We just don't go guns a-blazing and accusing families. When I accuse somebody, it is drowned and drenched in fact. Not speculation, not my theories, fact. My heart bleeds for this family. And you guys know it does because usually when we know that there's no criminality, because we are true crime, okay? We advocate for young children and even missing adults. We advocate for them when they're missing in hopes that they come home. We don't investigate every single case. We advocate in situations like that, okay? But when there is somebody missing and I see people attacking the family when the evidence is smacking you in the face, it irritates me and makes me irate. I have said over and over again for this public that this child, this is not a situation that we are accustomed to. And yet people attack this family. This mother is broken. I can promise you this mother is broken. You know how I know? I could see it in law enforcement's face when they were begging the audience to stay focused, the public to stay focused on finding Dane, not speculating on the parents. Now, granted, we hear that all the time, but usually we have some fact behind us to say law enforcement might be playing us. It wasn't here. This is why I have a procedure I do in every single case, the exact same way every single time, so nothing falls through the cracks. This poor baby was out there, and we had some people out here accusing these parents of horrible things and treating them like pure shit. I hope that never happens to you, whoever was doing that. Now, on a less of a angry note, I feel really bad for this 2-year-old's family. Not just the mom and dad, but his grandparents, his cousins, his sister. All that have been just, I'm sure their heart ripped out of their chest. They're feeling, and this is what pisses me off, is they are feeling more pain than you could ever know. The only way a person on my channel knows what this family is going through, unfortunately, is if they had to go through it themselves. Sometimes I'm so thankful for social media, and sometimes I'm just ashamed. This is yet another example for some. There were a lot of people out there that were feeding information, accurate information, and I just want to thank those people. The ones that come out every single time and think the worst, you are blinded. And if that's your protocol and your procedure for every case, you are doing the true crime community a disservice. This is why, and granted, we are all different, but we need to segregate who is commentating for entertainment and who is here for true crime, because I am sick and tired of standing next to people and people getting confused. Because what ends up happening is the people that are here truly for true crime and to advocate for the victims and expose the criminals, we are getting grouped in with you idiots. And at the end of the day, we shouldn't be, because you guys are idiots. My suggestion for the people that are offended by me saying that is do better research. This was smacking you right in the face. I didn't even have to dive that deep. I did preliminary background. I looked at the information. I looked at the evidence. And there is no way in the world that I ever even entertained that these parents had done something wrong to their child. Yes, he's been found, LH. Thank you. This poor baby deserved better from us. This family deserved better from us. We're here for resources. We're not here just to condemn bad people. When we see accidents and mistakes made, It's a time and a place situation for me. Do we know that the mother took her eyes off her son? Yes. Is it our responsibility to condemn her? No. If it was something willful and gross negligence, that's the only time we should be involved in condemnation. We should have been here to support this family, which many of us were. But whoever was sitting there that's on these platforms that said anything about the parents, my first suggestion would be unsubscribe. They were more for the clicks and the views than they were for the information out there. And guys, please, please, please keep the mom and father in your prayers, because at the end of the day, they still have a daughter to raise and a business to keep going. This is not, I don't know if you've had a mental break in your life or not, but I have to think that this is something close to that. And what we should be doing is wrapping this family with love and support and helping them walk when they can't walk themselves. That's what it means to be in this community for me. We lay judgment where judgment is due, and we uplift, hold, and pray and encourage for those that have suffered the unimaginable to continue to go forward. And I pray that we did that for this case. I knew it was just a matter of time. Like I said, we gave it 20 days before, and this is a standard. Like these are, if you've been in true crime for more than a year, you should have standard practices and procedures. And if you don't, you're a fool. It's just that simple. I know I offend a lot of people with my commentary, and that's okay because I'm just a very blunt, straightforward person. That poor baby. That poor baby. Just, this is a good point to remind all of our mommies and daddies and grandparents in chat. Please don't forget to give your children, even your grown children, a hug, right? Tomorrow's not promised. Tomorrow's not promised. So I'm glad the family, as painful as it is, has closure. Not all of our cases do. Not all of our cases do. And God bless this baby, and may he rest in peace. This is hard, it's like, but when you get that call and now that he's found, it's just sad. I'm getting goosebumps. It's just sad. It's sad. It's sad. So rest in peace, baby Dane. And God, please uplift and find peace and strength for the parents. Find peace and strength for the parents. That's what we need to be praying for. Peace and strength for the mom, father, his family, and his friends. He was a happy boy. Gosh, that's hard. It's hard. All right, so you guys get the gist of Brian Kohberger. That kind of took the wind out of my sails. Oh, I forgot to change it. Let me put the other one up. I'm going to miss that one. That's not important. We're already getting behind. We'll get that one a little later. All right, guys. We covered a case. It's kind of making its rounds on the news. And it's a girl that was in a Pennsylvania college. She was actually from India. She was born in India, came over to the States. She's legal and everything. And she was going to the university and apparently went to spring break in the Dominican Republic. She was seen there in the water with a boy from Iowa. And that boy from Iowa has spoken to police but is very sketchy. I don't know if it was alcohol, if he truly did something, if it was alcohol related, or what the case may be. But at the end of the day, oh, hey, SPED teacher and Craig's girl, thank you so much for informing us that he was found. I really do appreciate it. And I didn't mean to condemn people on social media, but I've read those posts and they were awful. Awful. I am the most opinionated, one of the most opinionated and judgmental content creators on this platform. I speak my mind. I say what I mean what I say. I'm just a no BS type of person. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly comfortable that people don't like my directness, okay? Assertiveness is not appreciated in our culture this day and age. They like passiveness and passive aggressiveness. I don't believe in those things. I have been passive aggressive. It got me nowhere. I have been passive. It got me nowhere. I've been aggressive. It got me nowhere. So now I'm just straight up. Right? I feel better. And if I am not in a point where I'm judging a family, especially one that a parent took their eyes off a child, there's a reason. There is a real big reason why I'm not condemning a parent or parents. It means that there is no evidence or information. Because let's face it, it's very unlikely that somebody is going to wake up one morning and decide to unalive their child. Okay? People just don't do that. Have there been cases? There may be an outlier out there, but most of our cases have had the Department of Children and Family Services in it. Most of our cases, there's a history of drug abuse. There's a history of alcohol abuse, and there's definitely a history of domestic violence somewhere in their past. There's typically some arrests that happen early on in these people's lives. They may have cleaned up, but it's easy that they can fall back into some of the stuff because let's face it, I have some experiences. I'm just saying. So with that being said, when I come out really hard advocating for a parent, that means I've done my due diligence and there's nothing in the background. And I'm trying to very hard explain to people that while their theories may be legitimate, there's nothing supporting it yet. Because we understand biology and we believe that this child was in the water, we were giving us until March 20th. March 20th. We have a set date, March 20th, when our conversations about this case would have changed. Why the 20th? Because we know that a body typically surfaces anywhere between 1 and 14 days of a person drowning. And there is a caveat in this case. That caveat is the weather. It is much colder in that area. And so cold, we know biology again. We cover cases like this. We just came off the Riley strain case. And what we learn is that, and this is knowledge we've had a long time, bodies are better preserved in water. Now you have another caveat, the coldness, which helps preserve your body. So I didn't know how long from the 14th it would take, so I added 6 more days to that calculation. That's where we came up with March 20th. And then our commentary on the case would have probably started gearing toward more of an abduction. But as sad as it is, the most reasonable explanation was that water. I spoke to several people about this case, and all of our opinions were that this child most likely entered that water. And that was before we ever got the press conference of them saying his feet, there was impressions down there. There was only one searcher that made me kind of dance on that a little bit. And that's when they said that this child wouldn't just roll off and into the water. But now we learned that one of the well repair guys said that he was accustomed to walking down to the well with him for those repairs. And this person had seen him. So that's kind of when everything started clicking. But nothing, at no time was there a high level believing that this was an abduction. And there was even a lower level of believing the parents were involved in this case. So I just want to, bring that. People have to listen to what's being said. Does law enforcement deceive the public? Yes, they do. Do they do it all the time? No, they don't. They just don't. Okay. So there's new information. Apparently, the detectives don't believe the boy from Iowa. His statements are sketchy. Apparently, the student, and I don't even think I say her name right. I can't pronounce it. Sudiksha? Can somebody pronunciate it in here? I can't pronounce it. It's Sudik. So Sudiksha. Sudiksha? Is that her how you pronounce her name? Sudiksha? Either way, she was a junior at the University of Pittsburgh and on vacation in the Dominican Republic. She was seen by the water with a boy from Iowa that was also there on spring break. The kid says he was in the water, but he was getting nauseous, so he got out of the water. He went on the beach. He kind of passed out. He remembers seeing her kind of come out, and that was it. So very sketchy in his statements. But the family believes she was abducted, and he's saying that he believes she's in the water, that she may have been taken, overtaken by a wave and taken out to sea. I don't know which is true or not. What I can tell you is that her clothes that she was wearing were found on the beach. This guy's statements are not making sense, and she has not been found. Does that mean he had any responsibility? Right now, we don't have any information, but I can tell you all the reports I'm receiving is he is absolutely under criminal investigation in this matter. Where is it going to go from here? I don't know. I don't know. Could she be swept away in the water? We don't know. Does this sound really sketch? Yes, it does. There is a reason why mainstream media is comparing this next to, what is that girl that disappeared? We talked about her case forever and ever, amen. And she was in I can't even remember where she was. It was a well-known case that we covered here in part on here. Do you guys remember? Yeah, Natalie Hathaway. There it is. You can't see me. That's it. Natalie Hathaway. And that's kind of the vibe that our mainstream media is giving this case. So I'm really, really eyeballing this case. Not that we're going to go out there and take a deep dive. If you guys know anything about me, one thing I will not do is I don't go over our country's borders to investigate. I don't know international law. I feel very comfortable in my country. This is where I work. She's obviously over in the Dominican Republic. I will not go over to the Dominican Republic to search for her. I'm not getting into other international laws. I'm not learning what our rights are as people. All I know is any other place other than the United States, as far as work, I ain't going. I stay right here. I know the laws here. I'm comfortable with the laws here. I follow the laws here, and I don't have to worry. I know people are probably saying, but I was arrested over lies. Big difference. But at the end of the day, we recorded everything, and I think it's going to be all of my documentation of this case, where we were when we were there. I think that's going to be the ultimate sealing of the fate on whether these POs can move forward or not. But we will, without discussing my case specifically, I will just say I'm comfortable here. I'm not going to, if you guys have somebody missing overseas, I'm sorry, you ain't going to have Bullhorn Betty. I don't care if you pay for my ticket. I don't care if you pay for my passport. I don't care. I don't go over to other countries. So this is going to be a case that we are going to be watching from the armchair. Okay. We will be, this is not a case that we're going to be really investigating a lot in. We're going to be at the mercy of what's on Google. So this is going to be more commentary and discussion when we start going into her case. And I will get her name down pat. I just don't have it down pat yet. But I did want to let you know this is not what it seems. Like I said, law enforcement wasn't in the investigative side. The family's pushing that they believe she was abducted. She was a beautiful girl. There could have been somebody lying in wait. The guy she was with appears to be intoxicated. So could somebody had waited until he passed out and snatched her? Yes, it is possible. You guys understand why I don't go to other countries? This is the reason why I don't go to other countries. We have a major, whether our state wants to acknowledge it or not, there is an HT problem going on in this world. Okay? Beautiful women, kids, even young men are being preyed upon. They are being sold all over this country. If she was picked up in the Dominican Republic, she's not going to even be in that country right now. She's already been purchased and she's already been shipped away. That's how these organizations work, if that's true. I do not go into other countries. I think our spring breaks from our schools need to be here. You want to have a coastal or a, this thing. Go to freaking Hawaii. Why are our students going overseas for spring break? When is our parents going to understand the dangers? Does it really matter that 12,000 children? Now these are not, I'm pulling numbers. Don't use these numbers. These are not statistical numbers, and I did not research this information. I'm just using it as an example. I'm sure there's more than 12,000 kids that go overseas. But just because 12,000 kids go overseas and only 20 of them don't come back, which 20 are you? This is a Russian roulette. This is Russian roulette with your children. Which 20? Should it be your child? How about your neighbor's child? How about Joe Blow in California? Should it be their child? Right now in this world, yes, when we were kids, we could do a lot of stuff. The crime level wasn't as out of control as it is today. But these cartels have learned to profit off anything and everything that's illegal. Guns, drugs, humans. If they could get their hands on aliens and start passing them around for $1, they would. These are your children. Keep them in the United States where we have U.S. law and U.S. agencies to investigate. I'm sorry. If my child disappeared in another country, I'm not very confident in the police because other countries, they can be paid off. They can be paid off. Our country could be too. But the chances of our country being paid off, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a paper trail. And our Secret Service and our federal partners do a bang-up job, especially with our Patriot Acts that allow Big Brother to be in our bedroom. So please take it from me. I don't care if your children hate you. Say no to the spring breaks in other countries. There's just too many dangers out there, and I'm sorry. With a black market in humans, I'm not trusting my child out of my country. I'm sorry, I'm just not this day and age. So we'll be diving into that here shortly. This is a crazy case. Now, 3 people were charged with murder over a 5-year-old boy in a hyperbaric chamber. Debunked so-called treatments. This is just a crazy story. I don't know what these people were thinking. Are they lying? Is this true? Were they so gone that they thought that this would be okay for a 5-year-old boy? 3 people charged with murder in connection with the death of a 5-year-old Michigan boy who was inside a hyperbaric chamber when it caught fire. A 4th person was charged with involuntary manslaughter. Thomas Cooper was receiving treatments in the chamber, which contained 100% oxygen and is highly combustible. The Oxford Center in Troy, Michigan, in January, when a spark ignited a fatal fire, killing the 5-year-old boy. The boy was being treated for sleep apnea and ADHD. His family lawyer, James Harrington, tells People. Following an investigation that lasted over a month, Michigan Attorney General Dana uh, Nessel, said at a press conference on Tuesday, March 11th, that the Oxford Center CEO, Tamala Peterson, is a director of operations, Gary Markle, and safety director, Jeffrey Musteller, had all been arrested and charged with second-degree murder, as well as alternative counts of involuntary manslaughter. Alida Moffett, who was operating the chamber when it exploded, is charged with involuntary manslaughter and intentionally placing false information on a medical record as a medical provider, Nessel said. The Oxford Center routinely operated sensitive and lethally dangerous hyperbaric chambers beyond their expected service lifetime and in complete disregard for vital safety measures and practices considered essential by medical and technical professionals, Nessel alleged. The defendants are all set to be arraigned later on March 11th and have not entered pleas. Nessel further alleges that the Oxford Center showed a wanton and willful disregard for the likelihood that their actions would cause the death of a patient by not following several important safety protocol, which says makes their alleged actions amount to second-degree murder. Due to the alternative counts, a jury can also decide to convict the defendants on manslaughter charges if the threshold for murder is not reached, according to the Attorney General. This was an unscrupulous business operating powerful machines on children's bodies over and over again to provide unaccredited and debunked so-called treatments, chiefly because it brought cash in the door. So these services have been debunked as helping ADHD or sleep apnea, yet this 5-year-old child underwent this. And I'm sure the parents were advised that this would help. And naturally, any parent wants to help their child. They were there for help. Clearly, they didn't want this to be the outcome. Clearly, they have to be upset. And then I later find out this morning that a 4th person has been arrested. The 4th person has been arrested on Monday, March 10th. 4 were taken into custody. I thought they only had 3 on the last one. So it sounds like a 4th person was there. And I think it's Tamala was among those arrested. Oh, the founder and CEO, Tamala Peterson, was also arrested. So that is your information on that particular case. And we also have breaking news right now. Many of you guys know about InfoWars. There's a man that, what was his name? Was it Alex something? Alex Jones, part of InfoWars, that was sued out the wazoo for that school shooting that he misrepresented, saying it was fake or something like that. Long story short, they went through whatever they went through, and one of their reporters is now dead. And this is just recently, as of today. They say it was a robbery that went wrong. I guess somebody was trying to break into the cars, but I'm sorry, I'm part of the political blood in this country, And I know when you're dealing with politics and deaths in politics, things aren't as they seem. I'm sorry, they're just not. Um, I can't explain it, but I I don't believe it. I don't believe it. This guy was, I don't believe it. You got, and it's the conspiracy theorist in me a little bit, but I'm going to need more information about the InfoWars reporter. I really do. Yes, Alex Jones, that's it. What did he know on Hillary? I don't know. I don't know. But it seems like anybody that's kind of digging around in politics or finds anything has uh, a break into their house, a break into the car, an unexplained death, an unexplained crash. People don't understand our government is very, very, very powerful. Okay. Our government has the ability to crash planes. They have the ability to scramble the services out there that help guide ships. They have a lot of power that if they input information in that can change the screen, they can do it. Then and people don't realize. I will tell you guys this, and you can believe me or not believe me, and I don't care. Our country has known that there is an ability to create a human without a post. There is the ability to grow arms, limbs, kidneys, hearts, lungs. They know how to do all that. As a matter of fact, there are patents. Unfortunately, in our country, it's illegal. So they can't patent those things. But when it becomes legal, they already have the patents in place. Our country have some good intentions, but other things that are deeply flawed. And I don't trust our government because I know the capabilities of our government. Think about it. They were able to shut our entire country down, make us feel we were all going to die, all because they wanted to screw up the votes for the president. They could do that. They had the power to shut our country slap down, even though it is absolutely against our Constitution. They didn't give a crap. I don't trust our government. If you know anything about me, I put blue, true Americans in office every chance I have an opportunity. I root for them. I advocate for them. If I can get a non-politician in office, I will. But I don't know. There's just something ain't sitting right with me. That's all I'm going to say. Something ain't sitting right with me, and it's specifically it being InfoWars. They've done some pretty deep stuff. He was a good-looking guy. His name was Jamie White. He was killed outside of his Austin home. Until we know for a fact, I just don't believe it. Pretty simple. I'm not going to commentate for it because I have an absolute bias going into the article as is. So with that being said, that's it. We're going to be diving in tomorrow into the dentist accused of shooting her partner in, an upscale neighborhood in Georgia. I told you that I truly do believe that there is a domestic violence underbelly to this. I know what I know, and I feel like this man had been ultra violent to this dentist. When you kind of have a little more loftier lifestyle, things that go on behind closed doors typically stay behind closed doors. The more uneducated you are, the more you kind of run your mouth. Okay, it just is what it is. I'm just telling you statistics. Not everybody that's low income runs their mouth. Not everybody that's high income keeps things quiet. I'm just saying typically you get a lot of silence with things that aren't pleasing in an upper scale lifestyle than you do lower scale. Okay, it is what it is. I'm from lower middle class. I was raised in upper middle class, dropped to lower middle class. I'm a mouthy broad. What can I tell you? Okay. Would I be this mouthy if my husband was making $500,000 a year or 200? Probably not. Right? Probably not. So even in my own life, I can say that that is a statement of fact. We just speaking the truth over here, okay? So I just feel like there's a lot that went behind the closed doors of this family. You don't typically hear about dentists, unaliving their partner. There's a lot of suicide in eye doctors and dentists, kind of, believe it or not, a lot higher than, say, your general practitioner. I don't know what that's caused from, but you don't really hear of homicide so much. So I'm really looking at this because I really feel like this is a domestic violence case, and I want to monitor it because I don't want this lady being railroaded at all. And then, of course, we have a Florida case that we are going to be covering. Her name is Jessie Kirk. That's the one that has the Brevard correction officer in jail as being part of this murder plot. He dated her niece, and now I think they believe she's deceased, or they found her body and they think that they're responsible. And I'm pretty sure it had to do with money, because most of this stuff always has to do with money. It's either money or love or abuse or whatever. But there's you don't typically find happy people going around unaliving their significant others or their boyfriend, girlfriend's family. So we've got a lot to dive into, guys, but I only had an hour to catch you up, and we kind of took a detour to find out, God rest Dane Polson's little soul. But we just need to really have a prayer for the family and for those that were so nasty to this family. I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed and I'm ashamed, because this community is better than that nonsense. So anyways, guys, I love you. God bless. And please make this be your point where you stop and call your kids and just tell them you love them, or do whatever you need to do. But just let somebody around you know that you love them, all right? Because tomorrow truly isn't promised. And if you have littles, hold them tight, guys. I don't expect you to be perfect parents, but just try to avoid dangers that could injure your children. God bless. From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you. God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims.